Hey guys, thanks for watching. Today I want to talk about the warm-up procedure on these TPI two-strokes. There's been a lot of talk about how to properly warm up your two-stroke, and one of the points I want to get across here is the TPI system is fundamentally different than a carburetor. And so you're going to need to use a different warm-up procedure than you used to use on your carbureted two-stroke. I feel the need to bring this up because there's been a couple videos posted on YouTube lately that talk about a warm-up procedure for your TPI, and they suggest that you warm it up like you did your carbureted two-stroke, and it's just not going to work. You might have some decent luck with that, but you're increasing the likelihood that you're going to foul plugs, and I want to talk about why that is. First of all, the TPI system isn't super sophisticated for an injection system. It's actually fairly basic. The ECU uses a couple different maps and inputs from various sensors to determine how much oil and fuel to inject into the engine. An example of this is the oil injection map. The oil injection map uses RPM and throttle position to determine how much oil is injected. So pretty basic, right? Fuel injection is not that much more complicated. It uses a couple different sensors in addition to RPM and throttle position to determine your fueling. Now, one of those sensors is the crankcase pressure sensor. Those have been causing people to have issues. See my other video, I'll link it here for how to deal with that. But I want to talk about the warm-up procedure specifically. The ECU uses a cold start map when it determines that the engine temp is below 70 degrees Celsius. So this is the coolant temp as measured at the head. 70 degrees Celsius is about 158 degrees Fahrenheit. So anytime the engine is colder than that, the ECU goes into warm-up mode. This adjusts ignition timing, oil injection, and fuel injection to help the bike warm up. Basically what it's doing is it's richening up the mixture. It's adding more oil and more fuel. This is good on an engine that is starting out cold, but this is not good on a bike you're trying to ride. It's going to cause the bike to load up. Now combine that with that other map I was telling you about, where if you're trying to ride a cold bike, you're adding throttle. The ECU is basically saying, I need to add even more oil. So you're getting twice as much oil than what is necessary. So the bike is really going to load up and perform pretty terribly. Because of all this extra oil and fuel, the odds of you fouling a plug are going to be much higher. So if you've ever tried to ride a cold TPI bike, you know that the engine just doesn't like it. It runs like crap. And this should be a warning to you that you shouldn't be riding the bike yet. It's too cold. These things are very cold-blooded. So here's my advice for warming up your TPI. First, if the ambient temperature is below about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, then use the cold start knob. The cold start knob is actually an air bypass that allows more air into the mixture, effectively leaning it out, which helps the engine burn that extra oil and fuel. It says so right in the manual, so listen to the manual. I turn the bike on with the cold start knob, and then I let it idle for a couple minutes. I actually let it idle until it reaches about 100 degrees according to my radiator temp sensor. Then I disengage the cold start knob, and then I continue to let it idle normally until it reaches about 135 Fahrenheit at least on the radiator temp sensor. This will ensure that the bike is ready to go. Now, these bikes are pretty cold-blooded. This can take several minutes for the bike to get up to temp. It's a good time to put your gear on and get ready to go. By the time you've got all your gear on, the bike should be warmed up and ready for you to ride off. Now, what do you do if you don't have a temp sensor on your radiator? Just go by feel. If the tops of the radiators are hot to the touch, then the bike should be good to go as well. All right, so while the bike was warming up, I was able to go get my gear on. It should be up to temp about now, and we are ready to go right off. 145, just right. Let's go for a ride. Hopefully this helps clear up some of the misinformation that's out there. I really don't think it's a good idea to follow some of the advice that's been put out there and try to ride the bike immediately. It's compounding a rich condition that the ECU is already providing to the engine, and it's just increasing your likelihood that you're going to foul a plug. Now, I know that works for some people. I know some people don't have any issues with plug fouling, but if you're one of the unlucky few that does foul plugs, take a look at your warm-up procedure and see if this might help you out. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you like the content, please give me a subscribe, and I hope to see you out on the trails.